Hello and welcome to Flashback, a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. We begin on Monday, where one issue that has formed major discourse in various quarters in Nigeria is the general election coming up next year. The discussion took center stage at the Nigerian Bar Association's 62nd Annual General Conference in Lagos. Presidential candidates of some political parties addressed delegates on the topic, Democratic Transitions in the 21st Century, Nigeria 2023 and beyond.
Ahead of the much-anticipated session, the Nigerian Bar Association had insisted that its motive for selecting the presidential candidates to address the delegates wasn't meant to campaign for or endorse any of them.
No heckling, no clapping. No clapping. No clapping. Please, so that we can listen.
The NBA says it only presented an opportunity for the candidates to critically assess Nigeria's democratic journey since 1999, identify key challenges which have perennially bedeviled the polity, and evaluate sustainable solutions to them.
My principal is an economic wizard who transformed Lagos into the third largest economy in Africa. He will concentrate on the economy. By God's grace, I will handle the security arm. Not only handle the security arm, I will lead the troops to battle.
Why can't we have state police and let everybody police the state, give the governors power to police their states and hold them responsible? Why are they controlling education? Every state should be able to deal with their education.
The speakers addressed issues of national concern, such as the economy, insecurity, education, and infrastructure.
It is only when you have a stable exchange rate that people like me who have factories will be able to access the foreign exchange to produce.
The only way we should expect swelling numbers at the polls is for all of us to exercise voter diligence.
The Independent National Electoral Commission says the official campaign window for presidential candidates opens on September the 28th. Many believe the days preceding the general election, due from February to March 2023, will be a turning point for Nigeria.
Still on Monday, the Osun State Election Petitions Tribunal granted a motion ex parte by substituted means on the governor-elect Ademola Adeleke. Chairman of the tribunal also granted the All Progressives Congress Dabiri-Erewa access to inspect materials for the July governorship election.
For the past 11 days, the Osun State governor-elect had been evading court service over the petition against him by the All Progressives Congress and Governor Dabiri-Erewa. On Monday, counsel to the petitioners, Yomi Aliu, brought an application for substituted service on the second respondent before the tribunal. The application was granted by the chairman of the tribunal, who ordered that the document be pasted on the notice board of the tribunal for the attention of the second respondent. The tribunal also ordered the first respondent, the Independent National Electoral Commission, to allow both the first and second petitioners access to materials used for the conduct of the election and to also scan the ballot papers used for the election.
Those are the two applications, and you know when we're arguing the application, we refer to one exhibit where the bailiff said he went to serve the second respondent in Nede. The gate was locked. He knocked the gate. They asked him to speak with somebody. He spoke with that person, and the next thing the person told him was like a threat. So he had to leave the place for his, quoting him now, I left the place for my safety.
He expressed hope that the petition will be heard without delay.
Today was supposed to be a public holiday, but election petition being so generous does not respect public holiday. So we have to do it within time, and we are going to do it timelessly. We surprise everybody. This will be the fastest petition ever had in the history of Nigeria.
Most of what we ask for is there are cases that are self-proving and it's document-based. So we did not envisage a lengthy period of trial during this tribunal.
On Tuesday, the federal government signed a fresh agreement with the United States for the repatriation of $23 million allegedly looted by the late former military head of state, General Sani Abacha. The Attorney General of the Federation, Abike Malami, said the decision to return the funds was as a result of a series of negotiations and meetings between Nigeria, the U.S. Department of Justice, and the UK National Crime Agency.
In 2006, about $723 million in Abacha loot was returned to Nigeria from Switzerland. Nigeria has in the past recovered several other trenches of Abacha loot, which are proceeds believed to have been diverted from public coffers by the military administration of General Sani Abacha in the 1990s. In 2020, the U.S. and Jersey also agreed to return over $308 million in confiscated funds to Nigeria. Today, the Nigerian government has signed an agreement with the government of the United States of America. The agreement is for the repatriation of over $23 million. President Muhammadu Buhari had mandated the office of the AGF to ensure that all international recoveries are transparently invested and monitored by civil society organizations.
Your Excellency, the Ambassador.
The repatriated funds are to be utilized on the Presidential Development Infrastructural Funds, namely Abuja-Kaduna Road, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and the second Niger Bridge under the supervision of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority.
That we are here today witnessing another milestone in the funding of these projects, which are indeed critical to the development of Nigeria.
The United States Ambassador to Nigeria, Mary Leonard, noted that the U.S. Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation seized these funds in respect to General Abacha and his associates' violation of U.S. law when they laundered these assets through the U.S. into accounts in the United Kingdom.
The States government is keenly aware of the devastating impact that corruption has on societies. Corruption erodes trust in the ability of governments to deliver for their citizens. It distorts economies and access to key services, hinders development, pushes citizens towards extremism, and makes countries and their officials susceptible.
The U.S. law enforcement will continue to deny safe haven for corrupt actors and their assets, and as a partner deeply invested in Nigerian success, will continue to facilitate the recovery and return of proceeds of corruption to the Nigerian people.
Still on Tuesday, the Independent National Electoral Commission pushed for the creation of an Electoral Offences Commission. Other stakeholders at the public hearing by the House of Representatives also declared support for the establishment of the commission.
In the last 13 years, a bill seeking the establishment of a National Electoral Offences Commission has been part of all national conversations on constitutional and electoral reforms. In 2009, it was one of the leading recommendations of the Justice Mohammed Uwais Commission, and this was echoed by the Sheikh Ahmed Lemu Committee after the 2011 post-election violence. The Ken Nnamani Committee on Constitution and Electoral Reform in 2017 made the same recommendation in its report. After some failed attempts, the proposed commission is close to becoming a law.
Ones who are running around and snatching ballot boxes and paying out the money certainly cannot afford 40 million to pay as fine.
The National Assembly believes it will sanitize the electoral process as it criminalizes vote buying, ballot box snatching, and other electoral offenses.
The proposed commission will now have the power to arrest, investigate, and prosecute alleged electoral offenders.
The National Assembly deemed it necessary to amend and not overburden the National Electoral Commission (INEC).
Electoral crimes lead to low quality, corrupt, and violent political leadership.
INEC insists the commission is long overdue, but seeks the establishment of an electoral offences tribunal for prompt prosecution.
Don't leave that responsibility to INEC. We have no power to make arrests. We have no capacity to investigate that will lead to successful prosecution. And some of the offenders may be INEC officials. We can't prosecute ourselves.
But while many here support the unbundling of INEC to strengthen the nation's electoral process, EFCC thinks otherwise.
The offences contained therein in Part 4, clauses 13 to 32, largely constitute offences that have been already
been criminalized by the existing Electoral Act.
On Wednesday, the federal government said it has been able to offset about 1 trillion naira of public debt incurred by state governments before the current administration for the construction of federal roads. The president also gave approvals for the construction of some major roads in 5 northeast states.
The Northeast Development Commission got the biggest approval and award of contracts at this week's Federal Executive Council meeting. 5 roads in the region were approved for reconstruction by President Muhammadu Buhari, and this is also in line with the mandate of the Northeast Development Commission established in 2017 to coordinate the resettlement, rehabilitation, integration, and reconstruction of infrastructure in the region.
These roads are expected to stimulate economic activities, enhance security, and facilitate the freer movement of goods and people.
President Muhammadu Buhari approved the reconstruction of the Isolo to Ejigbo Road in Lagos State. The Minister of Works also said the federal government has offset about 1 trillion naira public debt incurred by state governments as interventions made previously before the life of President Buhari's administration on federal roads.
Another interesting thing to note about these reforms is that they relate to debts and obligations incurred by the previous administration before the life of this administration.
There are indications that the Abuja Light Rail Service will soon begin operations. The rail, inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari in July 2018 and opened to passengers, has since been abandoned. But it just got approval for a contract to provide security services for the entire 45 kilometers of the track within the federal capital city.
These security services are meant to protect the key infrastructure on the rail tracks, the signaling and communication equipment, as well as the electrical system.
But the story is not entirely different on the Abuja to Kaduna rail tracks. It is still unclear when train services will resume after an attack on passengers that has disrupted rail transport in that axis. The federal government considers it insensitive to resume the operations until security and safety concerns are adequately provided.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says to take ownership of the continent's transition pathways, Africa's increasing energy gaps require collaboration and the action must be decisive and urgent. This was part of Professor Osinbajo's remarks on Wednesday at the global virtual launch of Nigeria's Energy Transition Plan, a roadmap to tackle the dual crisis of energy poverty and climate change. The Vice President, who spoke on the need to have a peculiar transition plan, said the problem of energy poverty is as important as the continent's climate ambitions. The Vice President also stated that Nigeria would need to spend $410 billion above usual spending to deliver its energy transition plan by 2060, which translates to about $10 billion per year. Professor Osinbajo noted that Nigeria has an interministerial energy transition implementation working group that is currently engaging with partners to secure an initial $10 billion support package ahead of COP27. On Thursday, stay away from Northern Cyprus. That's the message that the federal government is given to Nigerians who are seeking a better life outside the country. The chairman of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, while speaking with State House correspondents, said this warning is due to the increasing human rights abuses meted out to foreigners, especially Nigerians. She stated that Northern Cyprus is not officially recognized by the United Nations, and it is difficult to make them account for the human rights abuses committed in their country. Mrs. Dabiri-Erewa assured Nigerians in the diaspora that security agencies are making efforts to ensure their business interests in the country are not threatened.
There's insecurity, no doubt, but we're all here. So I'm not saying, and this insecurity, by the grace of God, is a temporary thing. Yeah. With everything being put in place by the government, I posted something yesterday that all this one that NAF is bombarding, nobody's talking about it. I was asking the question, how come this is not trending? So there's insecurity. We have issue of terrorism, we have issue of kidnapping, banditry, but the government is doing everything to resolve it. Everybody has their own issues one way or the other. So in 2019, 25 billion, 2020, 17, and last year, 20 billion. So it even went better during COVID that we thought was going to go down. So it's per year, and it comes out every year. World Bank, IOM, Central Bank, it's on the website. So that's per year.
And on Friday, 2 bodies were recovered from the rubble of a collapsed building under construction in Kubwa, a satellite town in Abuja. Minister of State for the FCT, Ramatu Tijani Aliyu, visited the scene on Friday to see firsthand the collapsed structure and assess the level of damage. The minister said investigations will be carried out to know the cause of the collapse, and if it is established that the builders engaged in sharp practices that compromise the integrity of the building, those found culpable will be punished. Eyewitness reports confirm that 2 bodies were recovered and 2 more were suspected to have been under the debris. Others rescued are receiving treatment. Other reports allege that the builders used inferior and substandard materials for the construction, and they failed to comply with building and safety regulations. And finally, on Friday, as preparations continue ahead of the 2023 general election, the Independent National Electoral Commission has assured Nigerians that the results will be collated transparently. Chairman of INEC, Mahmood Yakubu, promised that the commission would be bold and courageous in prosecuting the 2023 general election. Professor Yakubu stated this during the public presentation of Yaga Africa's Watching the Vote report on the 2022 governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun states. The chairman, who was represented by the National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, said, quote, "This commission will continue to upload polling unit results to INEC results viewing portal," end quote. He also assured that Nigerians would be involved at every inch of the process in terms of knowing what is going on at the various polling units through its processes and procedures. The electoral body appealed for the understanding and cooperation of Nigerians to ensure that the process is peaceful.